So I was in a room that was about the size of this room, and it's me and one individual. And he had asked me to be on his podcast. It's called The Closer Club. Some of you guys may have seen that. And he had heard that I had sold a lot of properties, and he wanted to have a conversation about it. A little fireside chat. So I was like, sure, why not? And it's just me and him and a camera on a tripod. And he's like, are you ready? I'm like, for what? He's like, I'm about to go live. And I'm like, go fucking head. So he pushes the button, goes live, and we proceed to have a 45-minute to an hour conversation. He asks me some questions, I answer. Then that's it. It concludes, he shakes my hand, I say, thanks for the opportunity, he says, thanks, and he leaves. And I think nothing of it. I just go about my business about listing and selling property. And 7 days later, I find out that 4,000 people had watched that live stream and podcast. And in 1 week, 5 agents from California to New York called me and wanted to give me money. And I said, I was forever changed at that moment. Because you see, up until that point, I literally thought social media was for my wife to post pictures of our kids and food on vacation. Stop doing that, by the way, because nobody gives a shit what you're eating, okay? That's what I thought. So I became obsessed. And over the last 2 years, I have read a lot of books, and I paid someone $25,000 for a year's worth of coaching. He makes $1 million a month on social media. You think he knows what he's doing? Yep. And I no longer am unclear about what the platforms are for and or how to use them. I no longer worry about what to post or when to post it. And I've utilized this mechanism, this attraction mechanism, to build a 7-figure business. And I believe that everybody in this room, right, with the right mental maps, the right approaches, the right knowledge, can accomplish anything that I've done utilizing social media, if not more, okay? As Dan mentioned, I've spent the last 17 years of my career, sold 2,000 homes, have a coaching company with 100 coaching clients, and I've recruited 146 agents in 13 months. Yes, team. And social media has been part of the mechanism that has allowed me to accomplish that. So what we're going to do for the next 30 to 45 minutes is I'm going to share with you, you don't have to go hire that coach for $25,000. I'll share with you some of the things that I've learned that have helped me substantially, so that way you guys can be equipped and you can take it into your business so you can get more business. Who's up for more business? Say aye. Remember, high energy equals high? Okay, I'm just checking. There's some key things I want you to, mental maps, ways of thinking that we need to address. So attention equals currency. So when I say the word currency, what pops into your head?
Money.
So let's say that again, but then use a different word. Attention equals?
Currency.
Or?
Money.
So let's say it that way. Attention equals?
Money.
So if you're telling me you don't want attention, you don't want?
Money.
How interesting. How many of you guys are like, oh, no, don't put me on camera. Oh, no, my hair's not good, my makeup's not good. Oh, no, my man bun's not right. Oh, no, I don't do that shit. You know what you're telling me? I don't want any? Money. Attention equals currency. Okay? We are living in a time where attention is more valuable than money. You guys are watching Kim Kardashian. Her company's worth $4 billion. She took attention and then sold Skims. You've watched the Logan brothers, right? Take attention and turn it into $100 million fights. And Prime, which is going to be $1 billion fucking company. Attention equals what? Money. So then therefore I would want to get more. See, while you guys are like, no, I'm like, bring on all the fucking attention. Because I understand what it equals. Make sense? Frequency equals familiarity. What do you think I mean by that?
The more people see you, the more they think they know you.
The more people see you, the more familiar they become with you. Guys, your problem, I want you to write this down. The more people that can see you at one time, the more money you'll make. The more people that can see you at one time, the more money you'll make. We now have 250,000 views per month on different channels, me personally. That means your boy's making a lot of what? Money! Frequency equals familiarity. Now, I'm wondering, how many people are connected with me on social in any capacity? Look at the fucking room. Look around. Can you go a day without seeing me?
No.
Every time you open up your app, who do you see? You. So anytime you're going to think about coaching or EXP, what are you going to think about? Me. Frequency equals familiarity. Does that make sense? I don't know if you know this. Google has done studies. You touch your phone 150 times a day, on average. Look, she's like, that's fucking terrible. That's the way it is, guys. You touch it to check your calendar. You touch it to check the time. You touch it to check a text. You touch it to Google something, right? My kids now, we get into debates. He's like, this is the way I think it is. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, fucking Google it. Right? 150 times a day. And of those 150 times, maybe 4 or 5 times, you're checking profiles. So if you're on your profile, let's say 15 minutes at a time, which I'm being generous, by the way. It's probably more than that. But let's say 15 minutes at a time. So cumulatively, maybe 45 minutes to an hour you're on our profiles. What would increase the probability that you'd see me? Frequency. I post 4 times a day on all channels. You can't not see me.
No.
Okay? I had a coaching client recently. She's like, bro, you popped into my head the other day. You're like in my brain. I want that, by the way. Because is it exceptionally helpful? There are people in this room that I've never met you, right? In person? Have I met you in person?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember. But if I met you in person, do you feel like you know me because of what you've seen on social?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what that's called? A parasocial relationship. So you guys maybe have experienced this, but back in the day. So like, do you remember? Yeah, she's like, parasocial relationship, huh? So who has a favorite actor, actress, or musician? And you like obsessed over them. You watched all their stuff, right? Watched all their stuff. Do you feel like you know them? Yeah, and something happens to them, you're like, oh, it's so terrible. You're like, bro, you don't even fucking know them. Why? Because you've created a parasocial relationship with them. They feel like they know you already. Now, I'm curious, if you're selling anything, is it exceptionally helpful that somebody knows you before you know them? 100%. Because they get to decide if they like you and trust you before they step into your physical presence. Is this making sense? Say aye.
Aye.
Remember, high energy equals what?
High income.
Okay, this is $1 million worth of game right here, guys. So these platforms, what are they actually for? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So I'm curious as to what your general perception is. There's no judgment. I'm not going to shit on you. I'm not going to get angry at you. I want to hear what you think. What do you think Instagram is for?
To look cute. Entertainment.
Cool. Look cute.
Advertise.
Advertise.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. Entertainment.
It's like the new TV.
TV.
Doing business.
Doing business.
Filters.
Filters. Haha. So this is very interesting. Do you see? Guys, you need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. I have to see what something is, and then I can make decisions in accordance with it. Now, I'm curious, what do you think TikTok is for?
Funny videos.
Funny videos? What else?
Education.
Education? What else?
Young kids.
She's like, I don't even know what fucking TikTok is.
Young kids.
Young, okay, there's a prejudice there of age that it's for younger people. By the way, let me see a show of hands. How many people are on TikTok? I don't think these people are young for the most part. So there's, yeah. Hey, she's like, oh my God. How dare you? No. Good. Now, what do you think YouTube's for? How to, education, search engine. Okay, interesting. It is actually the second largest search engine in the world. First largest is Google, and Google owns YouTube. So, we have to understand the difference between short form and long form content. Because the two that I'd mentioned to you, Instagram and TikTok, what's up, brother? Instagram and TikTok, what type of content is that? Short form or long form? Short. And there is a life cycle of attention. Okay, let me prove my point. How many people initially were introduced to me in short form content, Reels or TikTok? Show of hands. Okay. Then if you were introduced initially on Reels or TikTok, did you end up going to YouTube to watch a longer form video? Podcast? here's what's interesting. You have to create an ecosystem of attention, because the way that the ecosystem works is you go from short to medium to long. Once you get to long and you start to consume me more, we're going to do business together. If you watch 15 hours of my content, you're buying something from me. Does this make sense? So we have to create an ecosystem of attention that goes from short to medium to long. So what would be an example of a short form video that we could be doing? Short.
A reel?
A reel or TikTok. Right. And I promise you it's not, here are the 5 things to look at for our home inspection. That's boring as shit. Nobody's watching that except your mom. Stop it. It's dumb. Is that entertaining, by the way? No, you're like fucking, get the fuck out of here. Or you're in the car and you're like, hey guys, I'm here doing this. Who's watching that? Nobody. Who's that really for? Make me feel real important. You understand? And then medium form content. That's a video that's between 2 to 6 minutes long, maybe 8. And then long form is a podcast. I have to create an ecosystem so the consumer can go down the funnel, so to speak. Because once he got to the podcast and he consumed more and more and more, now he's an elite builder. Let's go, team. You see how that works? Yeah, so the goal is to get them to long form. So that would make, if I was to ask you, what's the best platform, not a trick question, genuine interest in your answer, best platform to build a brand? What's the answer?
YouTube.
Ah, interesting. I hear Instagram, YouTube. There's some Instagram. There's some conflicting thoughts here. What if I told you that the best platform to build a brand, period, end of story, no fucking even close, don't collect, $200, don't pass go, hands down, is YouTube? Now, why would YouTube be the best platform to build a brand, period, end of story?
It offers everything.
Sounds like Google.
They're the only platform that does short form and long form. The only one. And you have built-in search, because who's their parent company?
Google.
Aha. You mean to tell me all you guys are spending all your time on Instagram and it's the wrong fucking place? How interesting. Short form content is day trading attention. You guys don't realize it, but there's a war that's constantly being waged on getting your attention. Okay? And short form content is just like, who's Aaron? Who is this person? Why would I even want to listen to him? Something pops up, you hear me talking at a thing like Mike Curse, I say something that's interesting, and you're like, oh, who's that guy? Right? But that's an invitation for you to follow. And then as you do, you start to consume more. And the goal is to get you to long form. Because once you get to long form, then we're probably going to be doing business. You got it. You see, you're learning, brother. That's what I'm talking about. You're learning. Okay? Now, what would be examples of this? So short form content, 60 seconds or less, it needs to be valuetainment. Now, when I say valuetainment, what do you think I mean by that? Okay, most of you guys have been doing this completely wrong because you're boring as shit. You're not entertaining. Right? You're in your office. Hi, guys, I want to tell you about this deal. That's fucking... It's not entertaining. Nobody's going to watch that. Right? So it needs to be, what? You feel attacked. She's like, right? It really is. Like my partner in EXP, Jose Morales. Jose has 111,000 followers on Instagram, 275,000 on TikTok. If you watch some of his videos, he's wearing like a hard hat. He has like props with fake money that he throws over his shoulders. Why? It's entertaining. He wears a fake mustache and shit and acts like he's one client and then the other person's like, mah, 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 right? Why? That's what? Entertaining. But why you guys don't want to be entertaining? I know why. Why do you think?
Self-conscious.
Self-conscious? You're afraid. What are you afraid of?
Some people are not that funny.
No, that's not true. I've hung out with you in a personal setting. You're funny. Why? What stops people? What are they afraid of?
Comments, judgment.
Comments. I'm going to read some mean comments and you guys are going to laugh your ass off. Okay, I have a video that got 75,000 views, nothing but hate. All from people that live in their mom's basement and make no fucking money. But you guys let it stop you. You get one mean comment, you call your mom, oh my God, I can't believe they said that about me. It's not true. I swear it.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And welcome to the Get More Leads Lunch and Learn.
Yes, dude.
Right now, you should be preparing to have fun and learn a ton.
That's right.
With that, I present to you the leader of the Elite Builders Nation, Aaron, who is also my dad. Novella.
Let's go. Give me a hug, team. She's like, that wasn't part of the deal, bro. Why are you hugging me in public? That is not what we agreed to. Thank you, Liliana. So I was explaining to the team, Liliana had a choice this morning because she's actually on our payroll.
For those who don't know, you can pay your kids and get a tax write-off.
So she's on our payroll, and I said, hey, you can either watch Little Sheldon or you can come and present today. And she is my daughter. So you know what her first question was? How much are you gonna pay me? I said, well, I think that's worth a couple $100. Do you want to do it? And she said yes. So let's clap it up for Liliana again. So at the beginning of 2024, I had a lot of agents and people on, when they would invite me on podcasts or to be on panels, ask me the following question. What do you think the real estate market is gonna be like in 2024? Now let me ask you guys a question. What were they really asking me? Okay, what else? Is it gonna get easier? Oh gosh, because 2023 was a little tough. I went from balling on Instagram to making less money than I did previously, right? So I heard in their voices as they're asking me, I hear trepidation, I hear fear, I hear anxiousness, and I hear hope. Hoping and wishing that, how many of you guys have seen countless posts about rates coming down 6 times in the calendar year 2024? You know what that's called? Wishful fucking thinking. I really hope money becomes cheaper because it makes my job easier. I am tired of writing offers to people and then their financing falls through. Yay. Right? That's really what they're saying to me. Look, Monica's like, yeah, that's terrible. It sucks when that happens, doesn't it? And really what's interesting to me is as they're asking me these questions, I know something. I know that the marketplace does not dictate your income. I know that the marketplace does not dictate your units and volume. Now, I'm aware when I say that, there's the majority of people in here that would probably not agree with that. Now, the question is how do I know that this is true? The same way I know the sky is blue and the grass is green. Well, I started selling real estate in 2006. Does anybody know what the marketplace was like in 2006? Okay, I'm like, was I the only person selling real estate at that time? So does anybody know what the marketplace was like in 2006? It was like 2020, 2021. Like everything flying off the shelf. You could get a loan without having to verify how much money you made. You could just go to a lender and be like, yo, I make 150. They're like, we believe you. Is that fucking insane? Yep. So, and everything's flying off the shelf. Prices are going up 20, 30% every year. Everybody has FOMO. Everybody thinks real estate always goes up in price. And then 2008 happens. And there's a complete financial collapse and meltdown. I don't know if you guys know this. In our county, at that time, there were 20,000 homes on the market for sale. 20,000. 40 to 50% of everything on the market was a short sale or a foreclosure, and prices were going down 20 to 30% every year. I actually sold a property for somebody where they lost $110,000 just to get rid of the property. Yep. Well, what's so interesting about that is from 2007, let's say, to 2012, I grew my business by 25% year over year, did no short sales, no REOs, and at the culmination of that 5-year time frame, I was selling 100 homes a year. You can clap for that. At a time when everybody's telling you this is the worst fucking time to sell real estate. Do you understand that? But here's also something that is like kind of perplexing to me, is in 2006, when it was vibrant and strong and dynamic, I made precisely $13,000 in a calendar year. But wait a minute, Aaron, the marketplace was great. Yeah, but I had an inaccurate assessment of reality. If you're taking notes, write this down. You need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. I'll say it again. I know I speak fast. You need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. Does anybody know who said that? No. It's a guy named Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is like the 23rd richest guy on the planet. He owns the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater. He started it in his garage. Somebody like that speaks, you should pay attention. Now, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, that's cute. That's clever. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that that was like super profound. So I had an inaccurate assessment of reality, hence the reason why I only made $13,000 in a fantastic market. And I realized like, yo, this can't be the way. I don't know what the way is, but I need to find the way or make the way, right? So what I did to get an accurate assessment of reality, I got access to the best coaches, the best trainers, the best mentors. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money to get proximity. Because to imagine you can get proximity to the best and not have to pay for it is immature. Okay? And now I no longer worry about what's happening in the market for myself, for my real estate clients, or for our team, the Elite Builders. Hey, real quick, if you're an elite builder in the room, when I say elite, you say builders. Elite! Builders. Elite! Builders. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know. Let's do that one more time. That wasn't fucking strong enough. Elite! Builders. That's better. Thank you. So I no longer worry for them. I no longer worry for myself. I no longer worry for our one-on-one coaching clients. What's happening in the marketplace? Because I know there's opportunities in every single marketplace. And everybody look at me right now. You are one relationship away from finding them. Because they're there. Whenever there's inefficiency in a market, somebody makes a lot of money. You need to understand where the inefficiency is. Okay? And I believe that everybody in this room with the right skills, with the right map, with the right understanding of what's happening and why, can accomplish anything I've done in this business, if not more, in half the time. I spent the last 17 years of my career selling 2,000 properties, 80% of that business being listings sold. I started a coaching company with 100 paid coaching clients, 12 of which make over $1 million a year. I own part of an office. I sold it back to participate in EXP, the model and the opportunity. And since then, in 19 months, I've attracted 265 agents to the Elite Builders. Let's fucking go, team. So what we're going to do for the next 30 to 45 minutes is I'm going to share with you specifically what you can expect in 2024 and why. This is going to help you get an accurate assessment of reality so you can make decisions in accordance with that in your business to continue to get your unfair share, but it'll also help you to guide clients because they're all telling you, I want to wait until interest rates come down. Okay? They're all telling you like, oh, now's not the right time, right? So the more that you're clear on this, the better you can guide. The second thing I'm going to share with you, which is equally, if not more important, is where the opportunities are and what you need to be doing and why so you can get your unfair share of real estate business in the calendar year of 2023. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. I'm sorry, I'm in the right fucking room. Who's up for this? Say aye. Aye. Okay, because listen, high energy equals high income. I'm going to say it to you again. If you're showing up in life like this, aye. You make no money. Okay? High energy equals high income. Who's up for this? Say aye. Thank you. Okay, we're doing this right. Now I need a clicker. Gabriella, where's the clicker? Here it is. Thank you. So, I want to be clear, guys. This is the good shit, not the bullshit. You guys are used to going to meetings that are super fucking boring and they add no value. That is not this. Okay, pay very close attention. Take notes, because you will get something here that will definitely make you money. So what is the accurate assessment of reality for the real estate market in 2024? Well, 90% of all homeowners have mortgage rates that are less than 6%. I'm going to say it to you again, not because you didn't hear me, but because it's important. 90% of everybody that owns a home right now have mortgage rates that are less than 6%. 82% have rates below 5%. 62% have rates below 4%, and 25% have rates below 3%. The average rate recorded last week was like 7 point something and change. So let me ask you guys a question. You guys will shop on Amazon for 2 hours to save $50. Why in your life are you imagining that people who have 6, 5, 4, 3 interest rates are going to raise their hand and be like, I want to cash that in for a higher one? Does that seem mature? You guys notice the energy in the room? It's like, well, all my post says it is. Do you see what I'm saying? Does this reality change when we went from December 31st of 2023 to the January 1st of 2024? Did that change? No. Just because I post about it doesn't mean it changes. Okay? So what this means is that all of these people, unless they have a very what? What does the word motivation mean? Motive to take action, a reason to fucking do something. Unless they have a very powerful reason to do something, are they going to be willing to cash in their low interest rate? No. Of course not. Would you? No. I'm sorry, louder? No. Then stop posting about it trying to convince people to do it. That's dumb. Right? It's immature. They have to have a compelling reason. But this reality hasn't changed, which means what can we expect for inventory in 2024? It's going to stay what? I'm sorry, again? Low. Guys, you need an accurate assessment of what? Reality. What is this? Reality. Oh man, you guys are with me. This is good. This is good. Okay. So, the logical conclusion is that we still will have lower inventory. And will more people put their homes on the market this year than last year? No. That's not a realistic expectation. So we can expect continued low inventory. Everybody with me? Okay. This next one is how inflation, interest rates, and how it affects demand. I believe that only 2% of the US population actually understands what inflation is. Because if they did, they would do different things with their money. Okay? So I'm going to give you a little education on how this works. Because I find it comical that agents who have to get a 75 on a test, have $1,000 and not be a felon yet, are all of a sudden economics fucking majors. Like, really? That's unbelievable. That you're now going to give me advice on this when, like, you don't understand it at all. But hopefully after this you will. So, let's understand the way inflation works and how it's tied to rates. So, back in the day, let's say in like Roman times, coins, our money used to be like hard money. It was coins. Gold, silver, and bronze, right? Gold being the highest. And when the emperor wanted to pay for something that he did not have money for, let's say a war, he had two choices. One was to raise taxes. How does that usually go? Very bad. And at those times, you might get killed. You know what option he chose? He realized something. Oh, I can just clip a little of the coin. I can take your little gold coin and I can just take a gram off. So let's say it's like 5 grams. He took 1 gram. Now what he's doing there, I want everybody to pay attention to me, okay? You should have learned this in school. I know they didn't teach it to you. He is stealing from the citizenry's purchasing power in order to pay for shit that he doesn't have money for. Is everybody with me? Yeah. Okay, so watch this. When we print money, we clip it. I'm stealing your purchasing power in order to pay for shit that I don't have money for. That stimulus payment, I'm stealing your purchasing power. Giving all the money back for loans for people who borrowed money for college, I'm stealing your fucking purchasing power. Do you understand what's happening? Sending $93 billion somewhere? I'm stealing your purchasing power. Anybody notice that when you go to a restaurant, it's like $150 now? Why? I'll show you why. You ready? This fucking collective hallucination, and then we want to blame either side. No, you know what the problem is? This, you ready? You keep fucking clipping this. So when you put too much money in a system in a short period of time, you know what the result of that is? Yes. It requires more dollars to buy the same shit. Make sense? Good. And we want to be like, oh, the fucking Republicans and oh, they're Democrats. Nope, it's just this. That's what it is. Okay? So, being that that's not going to stop anytime soon, does anybody see that stopping anytime soon? No. No. If they have two choices, ask you for money or print it, which one are they going to choose? Print it. Okay, which means what is here to stay? Inflation. Forever and ever. You guys following me? Okay, at 2% inflation, which we think is like, oh, that's not bad. Do you realize in a 30-year working period, your purchasing power will go down by 60%? That's a fact. My dad's $50,000 a year that he used to make, provided a middle-class lifestyle for me and my sister, it does not anymore. Why? Because of what I just showed you. Make sense? Okay. So we have, in a short period of time, printed a tremendous amount of money. Would everybody be in agreement with that? Yes, independent of, government affiliation? Tremendous amount of money. Okay. If there's too much money in a system, what is the answer to get money out of the system? Stay with me, guys. Too much money in a system, what do I need to do? Get it out. How do you get it out of the system? You restrict people's access to it. And you make it more? By? What? Oh my God, you guys just figured out what you should have learned when you were in fucking high school. Often copied, but never duplicated. What's up, team? I got with me Mr. John Mike-ish. 2,300?
2,300, yeah.
2,300
Yesterday
agents.
We had 2,300.
In the organization with EXP. I've been with EXP going on 20 months, 274 agents in the organization, trying to be like...
That's amazing growth though, dude, in your time.
Trying to be like this guy when I grow up. We have conversations regularly because teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
And collaboration is the new currency. And we have conversations regularly with agents. A lot of these agents are highly productive. They're looking to have conversations and potentially make a change from a traditional firm, or one that is a traditional firm that pretends that they're not. Right? And so we're talking off camera about how amazing it is that most agents don't read ICAs. They don't actually...
Well, did you read your last update to your iPhone agreement? Like it comes through, you just like click, click, click.
Oh, that's true, dude.
We don't ever read that stuff.
Yeah. And in reading it though, you can really get a clear understanding of what that brokerage firm's business model is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or I would even say this, what their future intentions are for that business. Because, I'll talk to real agents a lot, right? And they don't even know what they can't do. Their independent contractor agreement says that they can't offer out any free leads, any free coaching, any type of additional support, anything to encourage an agent to maybe sign up with that company and name them as their sponsor. Their independent contractor agreement literally says they can't do it. They can't throw events, they can't do lunch and learns, they can't do anything. Now, we know a lot of agents are doing those things, but my question to them is, what happens when they enforce it?
Yeah.
Like, are you willing to risk everything you're gonna build so that one day they say, hey, you've been in violation of this all along, now we're taking that away from you?
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting that it's in the agreement and other people are doing it, but they're just like, okay, why? Because that's what you have to do in order to, to really attract and add value. And I think it also is handicapping an agent from being entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And adding value. Because my experience in this game is it's relationships plus value over time.
Yeah, I think, when people come in second and they're like, I'm gonna copy this but make it quote unquote better. Yeah. What they typically do is they'll look at the landscape and they'll find where are the complainers, where are people disgruntled, like what is that? And one of the things that they'll say about EXP sometimes is that it's siloed, like that's the word that they use. He's like, well, there's all these big organizations in the company and everybody's competing for the agents. And to one extent that's true, but I don't really find it to be a problem. Like when I worked at Remax for 5 years, we were a very high producing Remax. We had top agents in our market, on many different levels. And I would find that most of the time when I was competing for a listing, I was competing against another Remax agent. We were the best brokerage in town. So to me, it was just like part of the deal. Like I have to sell myself at the end of the day. The company that I'm with is the opportunity that I'm running my business on. But whether that's me selling real estate at Remax or me building rev share at EXP, like at the end of the day, like I'm selling me. Yeah. And if I can't sell me, what am I selling? Yeah. All I can sell is the company then. And so, I'll use Real as an example. I think that there's a lot of things that they are claiming to be that are either in direct conflict to what their independent contractor says they actually are, or it's just not true. And they're saying, well, we know that some EXP agents were mad that this didn't work out perfectly for them. And that's going to happen in any business, especially when growing as fast as ours. But I just, when we look at who innovated this space, Glenn Sanford innovated it. He changed it, right? It's never going to be the same. Yeah. Real's going to come along. There's going to be countless other companies like them that are going after a revenue share, profit sharing model, if you will. And really we could say, hey, Glenn innovated it through revenue share, but he really took it out of a page of the playbook that was Keller Williams with profit share. He just got into profit share and realized it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He had 1,800 people and nobody was making money.
And recognized that rev share exists in that model. It just goes to a very, very, very small group of individuals.
That's correct.
That's really what's true. And to your point, I had this awareness hearing Glenn today speak that he's the one that's actually innovated.
Yep.
He's the one that created something new. So these other models that are coming behind it are copycats.
Yes.
No matter what they say.
Yep.
And what they're doing is tinkering with perhaps like some numbers and put a different color and flag on it and say, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
When in fact it's not new at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, one of my favorite things that I get if I'm like out there and I'm talking to somebody and they're like, well, I heard Real was good and I'm looking at EXP, but they've been around for a while, and they're like, I'm gonna go with Real because they're like the new thing and I'm gonna have an opportunity similar to what the opportunity was with EXP. And I just find that hilarious because here's the deal. If you've ever read the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, it's all about this concept of a new business model is outside of the box of the norm, and it's a blue ocean. Like it's, plentiful feeding and it's just clear blue water. But then what happens is when somebody sees that they're having success over there, they all want a piece of that pie too. And that's what we're seeing in our industry now. People like Real, people like Epic, LPT, these new companies are coming in, basically copying our model, saying that they're gonna do what we did. But how does that make sense when we did what we did in a blue ocean and it's now a red ocean? Meaning you now will never have that blue ocean space again because we've changed the model. And until somebody changes the model again, somehow, some way, we're in a red ocean now.
That's right.
So if you think you're gonna step into this competitive market space where you have companies like EXP that dominate, that are super profitable, and you're gonna have the same trajectory inside of that red ocean, you're very misguided.
It's an unrealistic expectation.
Very unrealistic.
And I think what they're being sold is this idea that like the product is what's going to cause that to happen. It's like, well, wait a minute. The product is a copycat of another product. It's like coming out with another kind of flavor of Coke or something.
Right.
Like you tinkered with the recipes, like, oh, we're great. We're going to be just as big as Coke. It's like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
And I also hear, it's because it seems like a talking point. Like one was the silo. The other talking point I hear is like, well, it's oversaturated.
Yeah.
And to that, I'm like, well, okay, I appreciate that. At the same time, I've been with the company for 20 months. And currently our organization sits at 274 agents. Like, is it oversaturated? There are people in my market that have like 1,000 agents, 2,000 agents.
Yeah.
And we're still growing and building.
Yeah, and it's global, so there's countries that we're just going into now that we literally just opened. So ground floor, huge opportunity, and we're getting like our first couple hundred agents there, and there's room to go to 100,000 very conservatively in that country.
Yeah.
When we talk about Brazil and New Zealand and Spain, like these countries have enormous opportunity, and we just got there. So, we're going to 100 countries, we're going to 1 million agents worldwide, we're at 90,000. We're still very much as an industry at the left side of that bell curve.
Yes.
Because, hey, there's room for everybody. Like I believe that other companies can be successful in this space. It's just then it gets into like brass tacks of like, where are you most likely to be the most successful?
Correct.
and have the greatest opportunity. And when we start laying out the different bullet points of EXP and what they offer, I don't think anybody comes close.
Yeah.
We pay out on 7 levels. A lot of copycat companies are only paying out on 5. Mm-hmm. We pay more. Mm-hmm. When we look at these other copycat companies and we're like, well, what are you guys making over there? And we see like, oh, the number one person in that company, in their model, in revenue share, makes less than some of my people in my organization make in a month, in a year.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's your opportunity? So I think these are all important things that we have to consider. And I would just say this, what are you gonna build? Because at the end of the day, these companies are platforms now. That's what they are.
Yeah.
And you can stand alone and the platform can be your whole opportunity and it can be your whole front and center. But I would argue that you should be branding and building you.
100%.
And our company supports that not only from an infrastructure side, but they actually encourage it.
Yeah, support and encourage. And I think the false misperception is people imagining that a product will do all of that for you. And it's not what's accurate because the model's the model, right?
That's
so,
right.
So Instagram is a platform, YouTube is a platform, TikTok is a platform. And people imagine because they sell them like a product,
Yep.
yo, you're gonna blow up. But the truth is like, you have to be talented, you have to add a lot of value, you have to put time, energy, effort, and resources, you have to take risk, right? Like that's what's going to actually cause that to compound and multiply.
Right. I mean, it's a leadership opportunity at the end of the day. And, you know, I think that's why a lot of us who are leading brokerages, like an independent like I had, or you were leading teams, you know, like you were leading before you came to EXP, we're just transferring that leadership to a new opportunity with much more greater rewards. So I love it. I feel firmly that we have the proven leadership. No other company in our space has proven leadership yet. And there's a big difference between growing from, you know, 0 to 10,000 versus 10,000 to 20,000 versus 20,000 to 50,000. Like those periods of great growth also come with a great cost. Like the cost of scaling at those different points is difficult. Most companies don't make it. We've not only gotten through it, but through it all, our leadership has always made the right decisions for us and to protect our opportunity. And to me, that carries a lot of weight. Are there agents that are at any company that maybe are less than desirable? Absolutely. There's people in the real estate industry that are less than desirable, but that doesn't mean that I get out of the industry. So we can't use some of these things that they say as excuses. We, at the end of the day, need to show up and say, what did I do? What did I build? And how am I going to see a vision for myself and my people in the future? And we need to lead them into that.
Yeah, I love that. It really is about leadership and duplication. So I think that you're one of the most learned on models. You understand them very well, you study them. So maybe what we could do for the agents or whoever's watching is just talk very specifically brass tacks of differences. Because I find it incredibly frustrating when agents come on a call and they're like, oh, like this is the same. And I'm like, nah, dude, it's not. So let's take on a case-by-case basis, because I know the comp plan is drastically different.
So one of the biggest things about the comp plan that's a little bit harder to quantify and reconcile with on the front end is that we get paid out on 7 levels and Real gets paid out on 5 levels.
And explain why that's such a huge difference. I understand it. But.
So, you know, in the beginning, you're not gonna have people on your 6th and 7th level. But as it grows, as it builds, you're gonna have a lot of people on those lower levels. In a mature organization with proper compounding, those are gonna be the biggest levels you have. Case in point, above me, so I'm part of somebody's 7 levels, right? Above me, I have the top 6 people in the world for EXP, okay? When you talk to those 6 people, across the board, 80% of the income that they make today comes from their level 6 and 7. Now, let's just rewind the tape a minute. Let's say they had built at a competitor's company and they had 5 levels. And let's just say, for simple math, let's just say that one opportunity with 7 levels pays $1 million a year. But 80% of that income is coming from levels 6 and 7. That means if you went to the company that had 5 levels, instead of making $1 million, you'd make 200,000.
It's wild. And I think what is important for people to understand is the reason why the 6th and the 7th are the biggest is because of compounding.
Correct.
Because I know what Real has said is like, well, what we're gonna do is you'll make more money on the first couple levels. Because it's like, the way I described it to somebody recently, I'm like, it's like a magic trick. It's like, hey, don't pay attention to the 6th and 7th. You know what I'm saying?
No, they want to distract you from that.
And what I'm aware of is that those first 2, particularly the first, is dependent on your personal efforts. And I mean, I've been coming to these events now for 2 years, and it is exceptionally rare to find somebody that has personally attracted 50 to 100 agents. It's very, very
handful
rare.
Of people in the whole company.
Like a handful of people in the whole company. So what
I'm actually proud of the opposite of that. When I show people kind of like what my journey's been here at EXP, I'm like, hey, you know, you're a top producer, you're a top team leader, you run an amazing brokerage. This is kind of what it's like, is everything in your life is dependent on your effort. But at EXP, it's not.
Right.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing. When I look at my organization today, over 2,300 people, my personal efforts, the people that I recruited, represent 1.7% of what I get paid on today.
Which is so important in terms of comp plan and models.
Yes.
So that's what's important that I wanted to bring up. So if there's an agent out there who's listening to this and considering different models, If rev share is part of your plan,
Yes.
if it's part of your retirement process, if it's part of getting you off the transaction treadmill, then this is very, very important.
Yeah, and this is like one of like
One
10
piece.
key points.
Yeah.
I think though, what I'll get sometimes is like revenue share is not that important to me.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I've heard come up lately is like our competitors are trying to get the focus off of revenue share because they know our model's superior.
Yeah.
And they're like, but we're like one big happy family over here. And it's like, we are too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that I wouldn't do. I've flown across the country to events for you and whatnot. We are too. And some of our organizations are bigger than these other entire companies.
Yes.
So siloed or not, like we're all there for each other and we're all there to help each other. But it really matters that like you start to think through revenue share because, you know, the reason that these companies exist, the reason that we're all here today is because we've done it the way without revenue share. We got burnt out. We were on the hamster wheel. You know, we were tired of just spending money to make money constantly. And
I grew up with individuals that are very kind and loving, but really didn't know anything about money.
I had no experience in media. It wasn't a real thing for me. Like I didn't look at this like this was gonna be my career.
Yeah, because some people say like, "Oh, I don't do that. That's not my thing." But what they're basically saying to you is that I don't see myself that way. Knowing who you are as a person, like I know that I'm highly competitive. We probably share that. I know that my need for dominance is high. I want to be put in situations where I can compete and get significance for competing.
Yeah. Welcome back, another episode of Wealthy Creator. I'm your host, Justin Berry, and I have the pleasure with me today, what I'm considering a good friend now. We've been working together for about a year, been consulting on his social media. He was part of the original OGs of Content Empire, which is now Wealthy Creator, and we're still going strong. I have with me Aaron Novello.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
It's awesome to have this conversation with you in person because we speak on a regular basis, you know, like bi-weekly, and now just to do this in person is great.
Oh man, it's awesome. I'm so glad you was able to make it. We've been planning on this for about, 6-7 months now, trying to get you in, and it's good. You know, it's WealthCon week this week, so you get to see some of the inner workings of everything and the prep for that. So that's exciting. But yeah, man, I'm happy you're able to come out. Truly,
For sure.
So Aaron, I'm gonna jump straight into this thing, man. I want to know, I know you as a great businessman, but I want you to tell a little bit of your story so that people can begin to understand who Aaron is, the person, the businessman, the business owner, the individual. Tell me more about yourself.
Yeah, so I grew up with individuals that are very kind and loving, but really didn't know anything about money. And I watched what that environment can do, right, with lack of resources and the things that go along with that. And I had a couple experiences in my life where I just made this internal decision, and I don't know if this has been true for you in your life, where you're like, hey, this is unacceptable to me. And I don't know what the way is, but I'm gonna either find the way or make the way. And that led me to bumping into real estate. And what was really interesting is that when I would do those personality profile tests, I'd always try to will them to come back like surgeon. Because I would look at the list and be like, who makes the most money? And they would always come back salesperson. And I would always try to push it away and be like, no, like that's not what I want to do. And I was actually at a talk. I went to school at the University of Florida, and there was a gentleman there who owned the largest gym in Gainesville. So he was a very wealthy individual. He had his own helicopter and all the accoutrements of success. And he was talking about a book called Think and Grow Rich, which I'm sure a lot of people have read and the audience has read, and that was my first exposure to it. And what was true is that there was also this woman who was very attractive, who was an agent, and she was talking about like being an agent. So I was like, I'm in college, I'm like, hey, maybe that's what I should be doing is like becoming an agent. And that just vibed directly with those personality profile tests. And then I just happened to do well at it. And at the beginning, though, it wasn't like that. I made $13,000 my first calendar year. So not something people would put you on, the Wealthy Creator podcast to teach you how to do that. It's definitely not something people would pay you to coach them to teach you how to do that. I just had an inaccurate assessment of reality. I didn't understand like what the game was and what I should be focusing my time on. And once I got an accurate assessment, it's kind of off to the races. And in 2007, though, I was on track to do about 60 transactions, but my mom had a brain bleed. And in a very short period of time, she was young, she was like 27, I shut down my business immediately within a week, gave away all the listings, all the pendings, and I moved back home. And I started over from scratch. And what was really, I would prefer that didn't happen to my mom, obviously. At the same time, it gave me this internal kind of knowing, which was I had a particular skill set on how to list and sell property in high volume. And that gave me experientially a knowing I can do this anywhere if you just drop me anywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, in that new place, it took me, first year did 17, then 50, then 85, then 89, then 100. Did 100 a year for 10 years in a row, 200 deals a year twice.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just crushed it after that.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. And it was really, I think at first, it was like selfish. Because it was about like showing people like I'm the man or I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And what it evolved into though, because I saw what it could do for others. So when my mom had that brain bleed, I was able to buy her condo and pay cash when I was 27 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, this isn't about like flexing. This is about I can use this skill or ability to be able to serve other people and help them.
Yeah. So glad you said that because, I mean, our mission here, even in the Boneta company, in the wealthy world, it is to serve people, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we want to do. We want to enrich communities. And you want to serve people.
Yeah.
And so hearing your testimony about how you're doing that is amazing. And I 1,000% relate. One thing you said earlier before we even get into the real story, but I want to get into what you talked about, your personality test.
Yeah.
So we use what's called the predictive index for everybody that comes through here, right? And actually, when I first started here and they had me take it, it was like my first time actually taking it. I took it at like 11:30 at night.
Real quick. Like,
I didn't care anything about what was going to happen because I kind of, it's funny. In my mind, I was like, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. Like, I'm about to just tell the truth on this thing and keep it moving. I didn't overthink it at all. And I came back a persuader.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's funny because I think that personality, I think I came back that way specifically because of my history, one in sports, but I've always been like the captain and the leader and the individual that was kind of like influencing my team. And so I think as a persuader, especially, high school, college, you have to do that. Right? Like, it's no question. High school, everybody's in there playing around. You have to be the one that kind of not only leads by example, but is able to talk on a level that anybody can understand to get them to do what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, our team was like fourth in the state for 2 years straight, right? And we battled with all of the top teams. So I found that to be like mission accomplished for me as I was ending. I was like, all right, I've lost a total of maybe, I think it was 11 games all 4 years.
Yeah.
All right, so I did pretty good. Then when I got to college, I was like, oh, I'm starting all over again. All right, and even still, it was like, all right, how can I, get implemented in this new system and this around these new teammates? Some of them are fifth-year seniors, so now you're an 18-year-old kid with grown men, right? Like, you're trying to figure out how to, really kind of make yourself a presence in a locker room that already is established. And one way of doing that was, selling yourself to everybody else, letting them know who you are and what you have to offer.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, like you talked about that, like, you were trying to think, what can I come back as? And you know what that made me do when I came back as a persuader? It made me go check and see what everybody else was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, all right, Ryan Pineda is successful, all right? And at the time, I didn't know him really. I just knew, I knew about the opportunity. I didn't know him. I'm like, let me check and see what he came back as, because if I'm anywhere near that, okay, I know.
I'm good.
Yeah, just follow the footsteps, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then I start checking everybody else, like that was in leadership roles around the company, and I'm like, okay, what are they? Like, where did they fall on this predictive index? And then I'm like, how true is this thing anyway? So then I actually read it, and it's so spot on.
Accurate.
So accurate. Like, it's unreal how accurate this thing is. And so, but yeah, I say all that to say, like, you're 1,000% right about going and being like, okay, I need to make sure I come back as, a certain thing, but it does help. Not only, it helped me with the confidence to be able to kind of step out and be a leader in positions that I never, like, I had no experience in media. right? Like it wasn't a real thing for me. Like I didn't look at this like this was gonna be my career.
Yeah.
When I was playing ball and when I was doing other things, like that wasn't in the plan. I just had fun doing it on the side, kind of a side hustle if I could make some money. And so I'm saying all that to say, like I can totally relate to how you were like, all right, what am I coming back as? It didn't fit what you thought of yourself.
Yeah, and I think what's true is that you can only behave in accordance with the way you see yourself.
Yeah.
That's like, and what's interesting to me about that is, and that applies to social too, because some people say like, oh, I don't do that. That's not my thing. But what they're basically saying to you is that I don't see myself that way.
It. Yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, how do I work on self-image? Now, part of it is data. So if you take like the predictive index and you know you're a persuader or a captain or a maverick or, whatever your profile is, that helps you to get clarity between the difference between the way I think I am or the way I actually am.
Right.
So I had a coaching client recently and he's like, hey man, I think that you see me different than I am. I said, that's quite possible. What's also possible, because people pay me to see what's true, is that I see you the way you actually are, not the way you think you are.
Not the way you see yourself, right?
Not the way you see yourself or the way you would like to be perceived.
Yeah.
So by, knowing who you are as a person, like I know that I'm highly competitive. We probably share that. I know that my need for dominance is high. I know that I want to be put in situations where I can compete and get significance for competing.
Yeah.
So if you know that about yourself, then you can position yourself in situations that you can let your gift out. And what's also true is if I know, let's say I know you're a persuader, now as a leader, that helps me because now I know how to interact with you.
Exactly.
I know how to inspire you. I know how to kind of push buttons a little bit because you're competitive.
Yeah.
So I could be like, hey, bro, like,
Yeah.
where you at? And
Right,
then you're like,
right.
what? And then you want, right?
Yeah, then you going after it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is like, and this is for anybody that's listening or watching who is operating a business and not using some type of personality test when they do their hiring, when they, like, even if you already have the established business, go back and make everybody take this test.
Yeah.
Not only does it help you hire, but also helps you with how you manage each individual.
100%.
Right? Like Ryan knows that if he comes to me and goes, the numbers ain't really doing what they should be doing, that I'm up all night.
Yeah, you're like, excuse me?
Like he knows that, right? Like he doesn't, and for the most of the time, you don't have to tell me because I'm seeing it too, right? Like I'm trying to figure out why something isn't working. And so, but it is true. Like you can implement those things in your business that help you work while also using it to operate in your own system.
Exactly. And what I think is so awesome is that we were talking about this off camera. If we go back to you can only behave in accordance with the way you see yourself. What's so beautiful about this kind of journey that both of us have been on at the same time, where your tendency in the past was to be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And somebody had to cast a vision, Ryan probably, of, hey, you can do this. This is a role you can step into.
Yeah.
But at that time, you didn't see yourself that way. Yeah. And even now, what's happening, we were talking like on our last call, and you're like, bro, people are coming up to me and it's weird.
Yeah.
But what's happening is the new version, the new way you see yourself is clashing with the old. And I think with every evolution, I do believe that business is not a material journey. I think it's a spiritual one.
Yeah.
And our comfort keeps us from our calling.
That's
So
good.
there's something that comes right up to it, and it's like, yo, this is really uncomfortable for me. I don't do that's not who I am.
Yeah.
But as you step into that, because you can only behave in accordance with the way you see yourself, as you start to see that more and more, then you behave as that individual. And then that just happens and it's normal for you and it's not a big
natural.
deal.
Yeah, and I'm, like you said, we're going through it now,
Yeah.
right? Like it was one of those things where you have the opportunity to level up in a way,
Yeah.
right? And you've been working for the level up, but you haven't been like clear on what that even means or what that like will bring to
Yes.
you, right? Like you understand, yes, scaling my business is important. I'm gonna do everything I need to do to scale the business, right? Like you understand that. You get on social media, you're like, okay, I'm trying to drive leads.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow influence.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grow my downline. I'm trying to, like, there's all these things that come with why you are putting out content. And then there's the moment of, oh no, they're seeing me differently now.
Yeah.
And now I have a responsibility.
Yes.
And I almost owe it to them to give out what is due, right? Like to give them everything that I have, because again, we're coming from the place of I want to serve people.
100%. So the reason I got all excited is I was having a conversation with a member of our team. She's part of our organization, Elite Builders at EXP. And I see her as like a commander. Like she can build and help a lot of people. And she told me a story 3 years ago while we were having dinner. And I said to her out loud, you need to tell that story more often.
Yeah.
But you know what her first response was? I'm not comfortable because I have shame about it. And I'm like, well, instead of having shame, you should be proud of what you've been through. And a lot of people would benefit from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Anybody besides me ever been on vacation have to bring your laptop? Anybody besides me, significant others, get pissed off because I'm checking it all the time? We don't live in a world of rich and poor. We don't live in a world of haves and have-nots. We live in a world of people who have leverage and people who don't.